Welcome to Delistember, which means this whole month we're going to be talking about top 5s and top 10s of all the best stuff that came out this year. And today we're talking about the best TV shows of 2016. Now, I don't want to repeat myself, so ground rules. First ground rule, no repeats. If it was on last year's list, it's not going to be on this year's list. I mean, I'll talk about it probably in honorable mention, but it won't be on the actual list. Also, I'm not going to be talking about, just brand new TV shows. A show could have easily come out 2 years ago, but, just got better over the years and pretty much just reached and just really shined this year. So there's that. Hopefully that's not convoluted, but I'm pretty sure it's clear. But whatever, let's get to the list. For those of you who watch my videos, this is not a surprise at all. I mean, clearly. But this show should have been on last year's list, but it barely missed the cut. But this year, this show just got even better, and pretty much the stakes have been raised even higher. This year, we saw the second season close out with an amazing cliffhanger, and the first half of the third season is doing an amazing job of fleshing out even more of the Flash's rich lore. Overall, the production value is superb, the cinematography and direction is great, and the story, while has taken some creative liberties, is one of the most faithful interpretations of the Scarlet Speedster to date. But the real reason I watch this show and tune in every week is the characters. All the actors do an amazing job and make me feel involved with the plot. One of the few shows that can actually make me cry, and that is because of the amazing performances on the screen. In all honesty, the DC TV universe has been doing pretty damn well, and dare I say, 1,000 times better than the current DC movie universe, whatever the hell you like to call it. It's just doing bad right now. But yeah. Leading the pack is of course The Flash. Now I will say, Arrow Season 5 is so much better than the god-awful Season 4, but the one that's been constantly strong and pretty much been a constantly good show has been The Flash. So yeah, it easily deserves a spot on this list. Now, I've already reviewed this show, so if you want to watch that, click out here. But for now, I'll be brisk. When this show was announced, I don't know what compelled me, but I just had to go out and actually find the book and read it. I just don't know why, but I just felt like I had to. But yeah, I love this book. It's a fantastic read. I recommend it to all of you. But yeah, how does this show stack up? Well, there's some huge differences here. Mainly the beginning of the book and how they change a certain side character into a main character. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. At first, these changes did irk me, but once it finished, I understood why it was for the best, and in return, provided me with a great retelling of the story in TV format. The story retained its core messages, and the pacing was actually far better than the book. Overall, the show just worked perfectly, and the ending actually hit me hard emotionally. But the real reason this show is on this list is because of the overall setting and characters. The setting, damn. The production team did a fantastic job of really taking us back to 1960. And I really felt like Jake, the character who's played by James Franco, really went back in time and we were just there with him for the ride. Now, speaking of Jake, at first I was hesitant because, James Franco, makes like those Seth Rogen movies, all that stuff, blah, blah. I've always respected him as an actor, but after watching him in this, I pretty much accepted the fact that he deserves his A-list ranking because he just knocked out of the park with his performance. And not only him, but the one character I really fell in love with in this whole story is Sadie. That's all I'm going to say, other than just, I don't know what it was, whether it was her beauty or her innocence, just her character was what kept me enthralled the whole way through. This is a great show, and the great characters really, really make it worthwhile. Here's another show I've also reviewed, so if you want to click out there, again, I'll be brisk. Now, this is a show that I did not expect to love this much. Now, what makes this show stand out among the others is its deliberate attempt at trying to pluck your nostalgia strings. It's a clear homage to everything that made 80s films great and memorable. Whether you were a fan of Spielberg, Carpenter, or Ridley Scott, this show scratches all of those urges. On top of the great aesthetic, the show also does a fantastic job of telling a great story. A definitely familiar story, since it is cobbled together from other 80s movies plots, but instead of emerging as a weird mutant offspring, it comes off as natural as possible. Not to mention, the characters here shine. Whether it be the adults, teenagers, or the main kids, they all offer strong performances. Bottom line, the reason why the show was such a huge hit was because of the nostalgia. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in this case. I mean, it does a fantastic job to make people who love 80s movies and pretty much people who grew up in the 80s just go back to that time and just experience it. It's a damn good show, a great thriller, it's a great mystery, and all the horror elements really make it shine. As a Netflix TV show, this is just a great example that Netflix knows what they're doing, and pretty much I just cannot wait to watch season 2. Stranger Things is a fantastic show. That's all I'm gonna say. Just go watch it. If you haven't seen it already, if you've missed the phenomenon this long, I am surprised. Go watch it and enjoy it for yourself. From the trailer alone, this show already had me hooked. It might have been just the soundtrack, which by the way the show retains, but I don't know. But yeah, how does the show stack up? It blew past every expectation I possibly could have had and pretty much showed me something that I didn't even know that I needed in my life. Let me explain. From a distance, this show seems like a typical drama revolving around a rapper. Well, it's that, but also add in a full dose of comedy and a dash of Twin Peaks. And you're given one of the most original shows of the year. I instantly fell in love with this show. Most of the time while I was watching this show, I was crying laughing, yelling at the top of my lungs, saying, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was loving every second of it. It's crazy, it's serious when it needs to be, but most importantly, it has heart in all the right places. Dialogue is perfect, the plot lines are perfect. Everything about this show is absolutely perfect. And top it off with hands down a perfect cast, and you have the makings of a TV legend. Donald Glover. It should be illegal for you to be this talented. Holy shit. This show was a home run. It was just fantastic. And this show, for the longest time, did seem like it was going to be my number one, if it wasn't for this next show.
Yes!
Now, before I talk about the show, I just want to mention something. If you have seen the original 1973 Michael Crichton film, the overall premise and setting is pretty much the same. So, you know, the huge outcome of the movie is there. So, spoiler-wise, if you want to go in blind, don't watch the movie. If you've already seen it, you already know the outcome. But having said that, though, if you think you have this whole show figured out because of that, you are dead wrong. Unlike the film, the show instead fleshes out a very intricate, deep look at humanity and control, something touched on in the original film, but not fully realized. Now, the show's setting is a theme park where robots take the place of hosts in a full-fledged, authentic, Western-style world where guests go to enjoy themselves. Beyond that, I'm not saying anything else because I don't want to ruin the story, and if you want to go in completely blind, that's the best way to experience this. But yeah, overall, the story is written so tightly and with finesse that it pretty much broke the internet and pretty much caused the world to make up theories of what will happen next. Seriously, these fan theories were so rampant on the internet. People were talking about them on forums and people were discussing this stuff so much that I can't really remember the last time people talked about a show this much, at least theory-wise. I mean, it was insane. People were really trying to piece this thing together. And it was utterly just amusing and at the same time, really, really cool. Now, also, yeah, if you don't want the show spoiled, again, if you want to go in completely blind, do not look up these theories because they will spoil the story because a lot of them were actually correct. So do not look up the theories if you want to watch the show. Now, besides that, the pacing. The pacing is utter perfection. The dialogue is full and rich with lore that clue the audience in on what is happening underneath the surface. The characters and casting is perfect. I mean, with an all-star cast of some of the best actors working in television currently, and leading the pack is Anthony Hopkins, let's just say you two will soon begin to buy how real this park feels. Overall, HBO is a powerhouse for TV shows, so it being a clear winner is not a surprise. But what is a surprise is the absolute mindfuck that it left us all with. I mean, again, the overall outcome is pretty clear if you've seen the original movie. but how it gets there is absolutely jaw-dropping. This is easily the best TV show of 2016. Well, that's the list. And come to think of it, this year has been a fantastic year for well-written characters. Last year was a great year for great storylines. I mean, we had some great storylines this year too, don't get me wrong. But what really shined it out of all these shows was the characters. Now, honorable mentions. As I said before, all the TV shows from last year do make a appearance here. Man in the High Castle, Daredevil, Better Call Saul, Mr. Robot. The only one that doesn't make the list, or that doesn't get an honorable mention, is Fargo, because season 3 did not come out this year. They're taking a hiatus till 2017. But yeah, hopefully I'll talk about that next year. But for let's go down the list. Next up, Luke Cage. Fantastic comic book show, and really embraces the original Luke Cage comics from the 70s. It's fantastic. Horace and Pete. Here is a show that I can guarantee none of you've probably heard of, and that's probably because it's made by Louis C.K. and he made this show so underground due to the fact that he didn't want any corporate backers. He made this himself, and he's selling it himself on his own website. It's a very somber and very pessimistic look at just life in general. It's a damn funny TV show, but damn is it depressing. But great nonetheless. The last one I want to mention is Red Oaks. If you're a fan of Red Oaks, you understand what I'm talking about. But it's an Amazon Prime TV show. It's just a great look at young adult, like just young adulthood. It's just a great TV show. Kind of like Stranger Things in the sense that it goes back to the 80s, but it doesn't, embrace culture. It just embraces the real life of the 80s. Whatever. But you'll get it if you watch the show. But yeah, what else I have to say? Oh yeah, Delistember is almost up. Next week's video is gonna be the best movies of 2016, and pretty much that'll be it. Last week I said talk about best games 2016. So if you want to watch that, click out here. But yeah, keep an eye out for the best movies 2016. So yeah, this has been a fantastic year for pop culture in general, and I just cannot wait to see what 2017 has in store for us. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.